Guys, great day to you. It's been a while. It's been a minute since I got in front of the camera, sat down and did a one-on-one, did an exchange with you guys. But over the course of these 90 days, I stay quiet and just build. I'm in the building season, as they may call it, or at least I do. And I came up with three powerful points I want to make in my self-discovery in these past 90 days. And what I want to share with you briefly is hopefully, my goal is to build a platform that will help add value in healthcare systems, and also continuously refining, rewriting my story. That means very dear to me, the technician. So I got two of those things running it simultaneously. And this leads me into my first point. So what I first discovered within these past 90 days is power is calm. It's not loud. Most people think power is dominance, charisma, or controlling the room. But real power is emotional stability, right? Emotional stability. So, for example, the way I interpret it is when you go into a room and you no longer seek validation from people, right? That is true power from that. It doesn't mean that you discount people, right? You don't no longer need them. You validate yourself, right? So how do we get to that point where we validate ourselves? Well, it's quietly doing the work, right? What do you put in your head, what you focus on, what your thoughts are, right? Your operating system and the actions you take. So number one, your thoughts, right? Followed by the action, right? Translates into building slow confidence over time. And when you build slow confidence over time, you learn to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you no longer need or seek validation from the external forces out there, be it people, for one. But don't get me wrong, we need people to build, right? But of course, when you're starting something, if you're building something, it's going to be, most of the time, it's just going to be you. Pen and paper, your laptop, your vision, your story, right? So it's going to feel lonely, which is acceptable, right? It's acceptable, it's normal to feel that way. And know that you're not alone. Next point, number two, when you stop needing something from people, they trust you more. Right, so this aligns with my first point. The old version of you, me, tried to impress, perform, or win interactions. The evolved version simply listens and observes, and that makes people open up more. So the way I interpret this is, for example, let's say you're at a networking event, you show up to a party or an event, for example, a film event supporting artists that you may know, right? Colleagues. When you simply could show up and support them, right? Supporting them intentfully. And just that, you're just simply being in the moment, right? You're listening, observing, you're being there for them, and you're not performing, right? When you're straying away from center, right, and you're people pleasing, that's just showing that you're not living in your true self. You're simply performing. So when you stop needing something from people, you take your power back, right? And what helps me is to listen more to people, ask more questions, and observe, be curious, right? Because when we go out into the world, it's all about observing, right? Taking everything from all our sensory awarenesses and taking that in and processing it as information, right? Whether that information is going to add value to our lives or if that information is going to just cause distraction in our lives. The powerful awareness in that and selecting what information stays in here and here is to be more self-aware of self. Be more self-aware of self, right? What are your values? What do you stand for? Right? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What's your vision? Right? What lights you on fire? Right? When you embody that, when you constantly put that in the forefront of your mind every single day, it gives you less leeway to stray off center. You're more focused, you're more directional, you're more intentful, right? That's why the most successful people that I look up to, they're very intentful over their time. They're very intentful with the relationships they build. They're very intentful with the energy they spend on, right? So that's something that I reflected on for point number 2. And lastly, point number 3 is maturity is containment. Maturity is containment. So in my 20s, right, it's all about flossing, dipping in the new ride, you got the new sound system back in the day. Me and my good friend, it was all about having the coolest sound system, bumping the Warren G, hip hop. I grew up in the 90s R&B, Dre, Snoop era. So it was all about performance, driving around in the parking lot, trying to be seen right, by the ladies. But that's in the 20s. In 30s, it's more like ambition, right? You start to build your empire. 40s, power becomes containment. So what does that mean? Containment means feeling emotions without leaking them. Having ego without being ruled by it. It's a big one. Having desire without chasing it. So that kind of control creates real leadership and real masculine presence. Right? So for example, to me, what I know now, and if I could take back all the information that I learned now, all the experiences, and inject that into my 20-year-old self, I would be far ahead of the game. But everything happens for a reason. Everything happens on God's timeline, right? Life happens for me, not to me. So, that said, for me, maturity is containment. So meaning we choose to exert our energy and be selective with our energy. Whether if we're putting energy in bettering our health and wellness, bettering our macros, our diet, bettering our mindset, spirituality, right? Meditation, prayer, whatever it may be, reading books, podcasts, right? Improving our craft, for me, acting and writing. Or let's be real. We all have days. There's going to be painful, hard times. That's inevitable. It's part of life. It's part of the process, right? We can't have the good without the bad. We can't have the yin without the yang. We can't have the black without the white. There's always going to be, to me, that gray area. It's your responsibility. It's my responsibility to take that gray area, right? And take it every single day and ask yourself, what does this gray area mean for me, right? The void, right? That gap, right? The gray area is that gap between the black and the white. If we had to visually, paint the picture, that gray area is the gap, right? That we need, what we must fill every single day, right? That gray area, the foggy area, is the truth that we need to feel to move forward towards our goals, dreams, and ambitions. So guys, just to recap here, thank you so much for sitting down with me and hanging out with me on this Friday in LA. It's beautiful out, but I felt called to communicate this message because it's been a minute. And so wrapping up, point number one, power is calm, not loud. Number two, when you stop needing something from people, they trust you more. And lastly, point number three, maturity is containment. So thank you guys. If you guys like this content, please leave a comment, let me know if you would like to hear more about my story or just more content related to this matter. I'm all about this. I could have this conversation all night long. So thank you guys. Stay great and see you soon.